Hey guys, Bobby DeMuro here with BaseballCensus.com, and I'm standing next to Seattle Mariners outfield prospect Braden Bishop. We're talking hitting today with Braden, a couple other things, but hitting's always a big topic with him, especially this year. Did some swing changes over the winter. I know he's reaped the benefits of that this year at High A Modesto and Double A Arkansas. We're going to chat a little bit about that. Before we get there, first off, Arizona Fall League. It's 300 degrees out here today, at least for October in Arizona. How do you see this fall league, especially after playing a full year like you did? Is this, a victory lap? Are you trying to work on something? Like, what does the next month look like for you?
Well, obviously, first of all, a huge honor to be here, with the type of players that are out here.
Yeah.
I knew I had it in me, but I never thought I'd actually be here. So, it's still a little bit shocking to me, but, I put the work in, and to learn from guys like this, I think is huge. And, always trying to work on something.
Is there something specific? Is it just general game or something specific right now?
I think the biggest thing for me is playing the corners on defense. Obviously still developing at the plate, and working on what I had developed all year, and then trying to just fine tune that. But I think overall just learn how to play the corners a little bit better so I can make myself a three-position outfield guy rather than just one.
Is that something? You've obviously got the speed. You've got more than enough speed to play center and anywhere else. The arm strength has always struck me as fine. How have you been adjusting to that? Maybe especially in right field where you need to have kind of a cannon to survive.
Yeah, and I think it's being smarter with the throws. Really coming to get the ball. When it's hit to you, so then you might not even have to make the throw.
Yeah.
Because you might force the base coach, into making a decision. But then also, just taking different angles, because playing the corners, it's just a totally different, visual set. So just getting used to that, and trying to get used to the angles, throwing to bases from different angles. I think that's been super valuable to me so far, and I'll just keep building on that.
That's something that it always strikes me. The ball, you mentioned it spins differently off the bat. When you're right field, left field, whatever, that it angles that kind of, runs or fades or whatever you want to say down to the foul lines. Has that been a challenge, or does your speed make up for maybe that first half step of a misread?
Yeah, speed definitely helps for sure, but I think overall, I've been forced to, make a couple movements I'm not used to. I'm a little bit better going glove side than offside, so playing right field and going offside gap or right center gap, has been something that I've worked on. I've got to do it a couple times, and taking good routes a couple and not, but that's the whole point. Get used to it and more comfortable with it.
The big thing in any angle anybody talks about with you right now is on offense. I asked you to bring your bat. After this interview, at the very end of this interview, we're going to cut in another video of you kind of describing your swing, describing what changed. But let's talk about that first. Very broadly, you're trying to hit the ball in the air. That means different things to different people. Put it on the record, that doesn't mean pop-ups. You're trying to hit line drives. I remember you telling me in May, line drives over the shortstop's head. What is your outlook on hitting the ball in the air?
Yeah, I think, like you said, broadly, I want to hit in there. Ideally, hit it over an infielder's head with enough velo to be out of the reach of an outfielder, and ideally go over the fence, But, the whole point is not, just hit it in the air, but it's driving it, having some authority and some intent behind what I'm doing, because just that outlook alone just creates a lot more, torque, and it also creates the angle for you without you artificially trying to create it.
You tweeted something the other night, and I don't remember the exact words, I'll paraphrase, but it was one of those things where people always say they don't mean to hit home runs, and that's where they start. And your tweet was kind of like, what are you talking about? You don't hit home runs by accident.
Yeah.
This is something you're practicing, and you're not 6'6", 240, but that doesn't mean you can't practice the same way. How do you see that practice, even as a speed guy like you are?
And everybody's different. So I know some guys like Freddie Freeman. I was thinking about this last night. Freddie Freeman, he's trying to hit the ball to second base, and that creates the position he needs to be in to drive the baseball.
Yeah.
And for me, if I try and hit the ball at second base, I will hit the ball at second base and get out every time. So it's different for everybody. But for me, I know that if my intent is to hit the ball out of the ballpark with that intent, then my misses, which I miss a lot because I don't hit a lot of home runs, are in the gap or down the line, or I'm staying through a breaking ball and hooking into the corner, or staying through a fastball and hitting it down the line for a double when I really am not trying to hit it there.
Yeah.
But the intent alone allows me to have the barrel in the zone early and then finish a lot longer.
Obviously, production matters. We can debate how much it matters at the minor league level vis-a-vis development. But when you make a change like this, everybody wants to see, well, what do the stats say? You hit very well in high A, and skeptics are going to say, well, it's the California League. Big deal. You did the same thing in Double A. Texas League is a little tougher. I know you still have to prove yourself next year and the year after and the year after that. At least having 1 year under your belt, is that a load off to say, hey, I knew this change was right, and then I went out and proved it. It worked.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, success works one of two ways. It either develops this complacency, where you're like, oh, I got it figured out, or it works the other way, where it's like, I know there's more, I want more, and that's where I'm at. I saw what a change can do. Now, if I just keep building and keep adding blocks to this game I've created, that I think that's the fun part. It's like just developing and keep adding and seeing where it can take me. Because potential is just that until you prove it. So
I feel like that's a really big change too. Everybody talks about Double A as the jump. Double A is the big jump, and if you're ready, you'll prove yourself, and if you're not, it's going to hurt pretty badly. You proved yourself and you hit the ground running immediately. What I guess what was the reasoning behind that? Because a lot of people struggle that first time doing Double A. We'll talk to 15 guys in your clubhouse who had a bad first experience.
Yeah, and I think the competition was obviously better.
Yeah.
It's more polished. There's the arms are more consistently there. So I think it was like just really embracing the challenge of how good it was going to be day in and day out, and to know that you will get exposed if you're not ready to go.
Yeah.
And to come out every day, say I trust what I've worked on, I trust what I have, and I'm just going to go and compete my butt off. And it was so much more than just saying it, but actually having to do it, where I was physically and mentally exhausted at the end of games because I was so invested. It's game 124 in August, and I'm so mentally and physically invested that whatever the number said at the end, I wasn't really worried about because I was so into that game. And it's hard to do, really, really hard to do. And it was only 31 games, so, a little bigger than a small sample size, but not, 100 plus games.
I always wonder, too, a lot of the teams, Midlands, the Oakland Athletics, Frisco's, the Texas Rangers, you saw a lot of those guys in the California League last year when you were in Bakersfield. I think of like a Colin Wiles with Frisco. You saw him when he was in High Desert maybe last year. How much changes for a pitcher like that? I mean, do you see a pitcher like that in Double A and say, whoa, he's gotten 20 times better. Like, I need to match up against this guy. I had his number last year. I don't have his number anymore.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. It's like, you see them and then they get better.
Yeah.
Just like, because, everybody works hard for the most part.
Yeah.
Everybody's got the talent for the most part. And it's just, you see the guys take the next step, and you're forced to take the next step, because if you don't, that's what drives you out. And I don't know what's going to happen from here on out, but as long as I just keep taking that next step and matching up to the guys that are getting so much better, that already have so much talent, that's what it's all about.
Talking about next step, AFL is obviously a next step. Maybe the best pitching, the best concentration of pitching you've probably ever seen in your life. We got some video the other day facing Jordan Hicks, the Cardinals prospect, throwing a cool 100 miles an hour. Throws a ball at your kneecap and then tries to go away soft. And Art Warren is sitting next to me out there charting pitches, and we're both just like, man, we don't want to be you right now. How fun is it to face a guy like that? I know it's uncomfortable in the box maybe when a guy's touching 100, but how fun is it to see how you match up with a guy who's that good?
Yeah, I mean, that's that is what it's all about for me. And my goal coming out here was I want to try and put myself in the most uncomfortable positions, and that is exactly what I had in mind. Maybe not facing him and him throwing it at my feet, but to be able to put myself in there and be like, this is as close as the big leagues as I've ever gotten.
Yeah.
And I can see how I match up, and then I can see what I need to work on so I can match up.
All right, so let's follow up with that. How have you matched up, and what do you need to work? I know we're a couple weeks in, but early returns?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I feel pretty comfortable in the box, carrying over from what I had done during the year. But, just seeing how pitchers are approaching me, and I can't say they know who I am because they probably don't. But, just how they approach me, because they don't know I'm not a power guy. They don't know that I'm a speed guy. So, like seeing breaking balls early in counts, seeing breaking balls in hitters counts, how can I keep the same mindset where I'm on the fastball all the time? And, that's been the biggest thing, is just staying on the fastball, not getting off of it. Because if I get off the fastball, then I'm taking breaking balls that are
Yeah.
good breaking balls to hit, and then I'm missing fastballs.
Yeah.
So just keeping that fastball first mentality, and then just building on what I had built during the year, and that's been most important. And then just like facing a guy like Hicks, where I know it's going to be uncomfortable, but I embrace that uncomfortable. And regardless of the result of the AB, take something away from it. He's running a two-seam, running my hands at 99. How can I replicate that in a cage? Not really.
Yeah.
So it's just that's the best experience, to try and see that as much as possible. So then I know what to do the next time up.
What's the off-season plan? I know you have a million things to do before now and when you're finally done with the season. But what do you anticipate December, January, February looking like?
Obviously roughly 100 days. So, I've already thought about it, what I want to do. And
will you take like 10 days and just do nothing?
I mean, if I get home on, Thursday night whenever the season ends, or if Saturday night if we make it to that championship game, then I'll probably start that Monday.
Yeah.
Probably won't swing a bat for a while, but or probably won't hit a ball for a while. I'll probably do some dry work and just try and feel some things out. Try and ruffle some kinks that I developed over my 6 weeks here, but keep working out. Try and gain some weight and gain some speed back from what I lost during the year.
The other thing I know you'll be doing this offseason, we've done a lot on this recently for Mom. The new thing with the bracelets look great.
Yeah, I know they did. Yeah, they did unbelievable.
Well, when I first heard them, I was like, oh, okay, well, it's a good cause, donate or whatever. It's legit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's. We'll link everything down below if you haven't. If nobody's read about you yet, we'll put everything in for context so people can kind of know what's going on. If they have read about you yet, anything big coming up, what's next for Mom? Because I know you've already probably been thinking 4 steps ahead.
For sure, yeah. I think we are going to do another auction around Christmas time. Probably get some guys from the fall league to donate some stuff. Probably have a little Jake Lamb bat or two in there, so that'll be pretty cool. And then we have the bracelets, and then we're talking to some travel ball teams up in the Seattle area, maybe having a little outreach where the guys, the 13U guys, can get involved and just try and branch out a little bit more and get some more people involved with this cause.
Baseball in the summer, business, nonprofit, work in the winter. Why not?
Yep, exactly. That's the way to do it.
That's appreciate it, man. That's Braden
Thank
Bishop,
you.
Seattle Mariners outfielder. Fun year this year. Enjoy the rest of the fall league with him, and I think that's about it. Thanks, and we'll see you guys soon.